Hey moguls, it's Dr. T here, and it's time for some mogul upgrades to elevate yourself and your reality, and especially today to raise your frequency the way the moguls do it. So, we really want to dive into raising our frequency, and in doing so, we raise the frequency of our whole reality. And we get to tap into what it is that allows the top moguls of the world to operate at that top mogul level and how to create that mogul reality where just everything is flowing at that mogul level, which we know is that sense of being that top identity, that mogul identity of a powerful, positively influential person, right? So that's what the mogul identity does. And it creates the mogul reality. And that is a top frequency that does that. So just in diving right in, we could just think about the thing. Like if we think about ourselves as a person, that's one frequency. An owner, that's another frequency. A business man or woman, that's another frequency. A leader, another frequency. And then we start moving into the higher frequencies, the higher identities with the higher frequencies. So things like tycoon, titan, magnate, captain of industry, excuse my phone, and the mogul. And why the mogul is such a great one is that it is, the phone is going off, excuse me. It is the one that is the powerful, positive influencer. And it also just happens to have wealthy influencer in there. So we're going to focus and dive right in to some more upgrades that are going to help you raise the frequency of you and your whole reality. So, first and foremost, we want to understand that everything runs on frequency. Now, we all know we're humans, we got these parts, this is what we are, but really, what are we? We are a big bundle of energy. So, we're all energy bodies and we're interacting with each other, and we interact through our intentions, our energy. We combine that energy a lot and we make a reality. And then the collective is a whole bunch of entities like us being a reality, one big reality field. So we want to understand first and foremost that we all operate at a certain frequency. That frequency is depending on your programming, which includes everything that you've ever been programmed in since you were little. You came into this world and everybody started getting you to adapt to this world, which is, I think, one of the dumbest things that we do. We have new beings come in that are amazing and fierce and like, here's who I am. I'm here. Hear me roar. Hear me be powerful. These babies are so powerful. And then we start getting them to adapt to this system that we're in. And we start to shift and lower people's frequency than what it would really be. So we want to understand all humans are at a certain frequency, all cities, towns, relationships, families, everybody's at a certain frequency, companies. And the frequency of the energy body that we are and the energy body that someone else is, that frequency is somewhere between 0 to 1,000, like dead, or at the highest level, which is enlightenment. It's like light, truth, flow, and that's how it is. So every being has a frequency. And when we're in a high frequency, we get the high reality. It's like if the frequency is between here and here, this is 0, this is 1,000, and we're up here, then all the higher level frequency stuff comes into us because our frequency is high and it's a match for all the other high frequency stuff. So say we get ourselves way up there And my frequency is typically somewhere in the 700s, and it would be higher, but because I transform people, I go down into that frequency to bring them up the frequency. So I have a different baseline than I would, but mine's pretty damn high. So we each have this frequency, and depending on who we are around, what the environment is, what the storyline is, what the narrative is, what the relationships are like, our frequency can either raise up or it can lower down. And now we've all been in experiences where someone is feeling some kind of way, and we're just like, we just feel ourselves like, oh shit, I'm lowering. We know, we say, oh, someone's bringing me down. Well, what does that mean? We're down. That's the frequency, going down the frequency scale. And then when we're drawn to experiences where somebody's like just really high in their energy, high in their frequency, we're like tapping into that, like, oh my God, it's amazing. We just feel elevated. And what's happening is our frequency is raising. And this is happening all the time to the point where we end up with an average baseline frequency. And the frequency of the planet is pretty damn low, hovering barely around 200, which is down in the dungeon in like, let's just say this, like 30 to 40, maybe 50 is like shame and guilt. 0 is like you're dead. You get up to like 100, it's like fear. Start to get up to 200, it's like courage. So the average frequency of humanity is like hanging on for dear life, down at the bottom at the 200, but they're like, we're courageous, right? And then the people all below that are just like, we're just flatlined. We're barely even alive. It's terrible. And if we are in a situation where we're around low frequency beings, again, it like brings us down the frequency. And the opposite is when we're in a situation where people are higher up the frequency, it brings us up. But we want to know that there's a baseline that happens from the averaging experience of hanging out with different people, doing different things. And also, your frequency is determined by your programming, the narrative, the language you use, all these different things, because everything has a frequency. So again, if you say like, oh, I'm going to be a business owner, it's fine. It's like better than being on some other frequency of something like lower than that, but it's not the highest frequency, right? We could be absolutely connecting to the frequency of the moguls, the magnates, the tycoons, the billionaires, the millionaires, the trillionaires. Could be anything that is a higher frequency. The New York Times bestselling authors, the Indy 500 winners, the Nobel Prize winners, whatever it is, we could be connecting to a higher frequency. So when we come to understand that everything is frequency and we are frequency, we can start to get that if our frequency is higher, then all high vibration stuff comes in. And we go, oh, we're on that channel now? Awesome. But if our frequency is too low, then the only thing coming in is more of the same, because you're on a different channel. Like you might be down on the shame channel, guilt channel, I hate to say it, death channel, fear channel. You go higher up the frequency, get to 200, courage, moving into the like 300s, like anger, where it's like, finally, I've got some power. Anger is like a power energy, moves you up a little bit. Love in the 400s, we start to raise it. And isn't that something? Because people think love is like the holy grail of all frequencies, because they're like so used to being down at the bottom. It's like, oh my God, love is everything. And while we love, love is like not even at the middle of the frequency scale. If you want to see it, look at Hawkins' frequency scale. So we're shooting for like below the middle, which is always felt weird to me. And that's why love when you're experiencing it, you get some great things of it, but also get some of the worst torture you ever had in your life because it's not that high. But we're shooting. I don't know why. I don't get it. We're shooting for like below the middle, but this is what's going on in this world. So I was like, I don't understand. I came into this world. I'm like, this thing looks like kind of painful, super dramatic, super intense, and enlightenment, truth, flow, purpose feels freaking amazing. Feels phenomenal. So that's at the top. So if everyone has this frequency, we want to understand that some people are operating at the top mogul frequency, which is like, I'm just waving my wand of magic intentionality and everything I want happens. Because again, you are in a top frequency, more of it just keeps pouring in. You're just like, what do they call it? It's a big word that went around. A magnet. Simpler than that. You're either on a frequency channel that's high, so all the cool stuff can come in, all that opportunity that moguls get, or you're down at a lower frequency and all you're going to get is more of the same of that frequency, that station, that level. So we just want to have an understanding of that because most of us were never taught to raise our frequency, even though we know we can be feeling good and then we have to be around certain someone or whatever. And we're just like, oh man, that just brought me down. And we need to keep our frequency up because the average baseline frequency needs to keep getting higher and higher because as the world keeps getting lower and lower, well, everybody's just getting, they're just getting the shit kicked out of them. You may relate to that. It's like, holy shit, a small population of people are getting the mogul frequency higher and higher because they got it. Now they're at the top and they're at an attractor field, so it keeps spiraling up. More mogul, more energy. Oh my God, more. Keep giving me more. Now I'm Mark Cuban with 300 businesses or Barbara Corcoran or whatever those sharks do. Same issue though in reverse is you go down in the 300s, start to go down there. You're low in the attractor field. Even love, hate to say it, moguls, we've been taught that love is the top and it has really good branding, kind of like some of like the US has really good branding. Like, hey, this is the land of the free, even though it's the home of the slave. Love has big branding. It definitely got, from the I think 50s and 60s, probably the 60s, it's like love, love, love. Peace had its moment. Good branding. These are frequencies. We love love, but we got to know that frequency is in the middle to the bottom. Right below the middle. So we want to be shooting for a higher frequency, one that is full of intentionality, purpose, truth, peace, prosperity, flow, and we want to raise ourselves up. So what happens is that part of the programming of the human slave system that is run by the power structure does a lot of work programming on all of us. It's really fascinating when you awaken to it, start to unravel it, and start to get connected to your own higher power of your own self and your intentions and what you're here for. And this love thing is like, yes, I want it. And then all people are like, oh my God, I'm afraid of it because it's a mixed bag. It's this big, it's in the 400s. Again, we're shooting for 1,000. So if you're at 400, you're not even halfway to where you want to be. So we want to raise the frequency. We want to get higher in the frequency of ourself. We want to hang out in higher frequency realities that bring us up and we can just marinate in it and floating around in it, absorbing it. And we want to raise our baseline frequency so that it always keeps rising. It rises, right? It doesn't go like way up and then way down and way up. That's, I think, what is that one? The bipolar. God. All right. As a psychologist, I try not to pathologize people and put it in simpler terms. Because all that thing is an energy issue. Because you're probably feeling, if somebody has that, you're going really high in the frequency because the shit is so low down there. People tend to go way up They get in interesting territory up there. Then they go interact with their family or whatever, and they go back down. They're like, no, I can't handle this. I got to go back up. It's a whole issue. Then they just keep going up and down. So we want to keep our frequency high. We don't want to be going all over the place. And we want to have a high baseline. And I cannot stand living in a reality that's anywhere under like 700, which is the lowest for me. And it would be much higher. I would 100% be loving to live up in the 1,000, 900 to 1,000. But my purpose is to help people raise their frequency. So I go into their frequency and help them bring it up. So it takes me into that level. So in order to raise our frequency the way the moguls do it, it's a very important insider tip. They do it through this method that I've been training moguls in for a long time, which is the method of intentionality. So what we want to do, and this is in all 3 of my best-selling books, we want to be so focused on higher intentions that are so awesome for you, your partnership, your family, your company, humanity, the galaxy, that those intentions, as you start focusing on them, they start to raise your frequency. So the way we take people out of low frequency is to put them in the higher intentionality, starts raising their frequency. If I spend a couple hours with a client, constantly having them focus on their intentions, they literally, I just did it with mine because that's what happens. They're like, oh my God, they come out of that lower frequency. They're just like, oh man, they like made it out alive out of the lower frequency. They're into higher frequency. And then they keep, oh my God, it keeps getting expansive. It's like, and then I'm intending this, and then I'm intending that. And they'll start out with like, I want to create this amazing business that helps people do blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. And then I want to create this amazing partnership and, changes the world, blah, blah, blah. They're getting like more intentions. All of a sudden their chemistry shifting. It's like the greatest transformation. I want to do this, this, and this, have a family, have a dynasty, multiple generations, helping society. Here's what I want to do. They keep getting higher and higher in the frequency. It's like the greatest high there is. And as someone that loves that, lives there, but then comes into the certain frequencies to help bring people up, being in intentionality, as I have done for years and years, is so beautiful. It just keeps giving you more of itself. And like, it just gets your chemistry really high. You literally get high from it. It starts to program you into a higher person. And then that upgrades your baseline, where that just starts to become the way it is. So intentionality of our future reality, what we're intending, what we want, what we're here to create, what's that purpose? Some people say, what's that vision? As soon as we start going into it, we're raising our frequency. And I can test somebody on their frequency level at the beginning of a session, beginning of what we call an immersion session or an intention session. And then after it, measure their frequency, which is a way to do that. And it's incredible what happens even in a couple of hours. So the simplest form is through the method of intentionality. That's my first book, The Method. Second one that helps is the commitment to staying in your intentions. That just so happens to be my second book, The Commitments. Third is you're going to shift the programming from low frequency, that pattern that's running, to a high frequency. And you're going to do that by staying in your intentions over and over and over until you start to feel your frequency rising and you feel a shift. That is a pattern shift, which is my third book. And it brings you into an upgrade and helps you go from going all over the place, feeling overwhelmed, chaotic, going backward, trauma, gets you forward. Helps you go forward, which is my fourth book that's going to come out soon. And this is how the moguls do it, because the moguls of the world have big visions, big purposes, and they're so focused on it that it programs them, raises their frequency, creates a positive feedback loop this way, that keeps raising it, and they spiral up. Now they get higher up the frequency. Now they're up here, and then all the cool shit that wants to come in, it's like, oh, you're in this frequency now? You made it here? Here's all this cool stuff that comes in from this frequency. Oh, it's like, oh, you drop way down here? Oh, let us just pour gasoline on this fire pit that you're in, because down here, all of this stuff happens. It's all frequency. We think it's this reality, that reality. It's frequency, and frequency creates the reality. So the method of intentionality is how we shift into a higher frequency and therefore a higher reality. So, for example, say someone's having like super bunch of anxiety, and maybe even getting into like panic attack zone because they are 100% their frequency dropped down. It started to give them anxiety because that's what too low frequency does, gives people anxiety. Because their nervous system's like, alarm, alarm, alert, alert. We're in a danger zone. And when people say, oh, breathe and do all this stuff, I can appreciate that. I have just got a different method that the universe gave me. Our great creator said, here's what it is. Start to focus people on their intentions. So say, Jane is like, oh my God, I'm having a panic attack. We immediately start focusing our clients on their intentions. So it's like, what's your most ideal reality that you would want to create? Now the person starts talking about it. What's the thing you would do? What are your highest intentions for the mark you want to leave on the world? Person starts talking about. What's the biggest contribution you want to make to the world? Person starts talking about. What are the most, exciting intentions you have for the future? They talk about it. All of a sudden, you got them giving you answers. You got them like all of a sudden their systems like leveling out, raising. They got out of the danger zone, because all anxiety is that you're getting a feedback loop that says you're too far down the frequency. You got to get high. You got to get high. Higher up the frequency scale. But what happens is like everybody's like, oh, you got to take this pill, and you're just like, that's not going to solve it. You have something built into you, which is that the intentions for a greater reality will let you handle it and strategically turn something that is negative into a positive upgrade. So the way the moguls do this, why they're so successful, why they look like they're so healthy, even though, they're kicking ass and taking names, because they're like focused on such a higher reality, it makes them healthier, it makes them happier, it makes them wealthier. They got to be focused on that. And you go, well, sure, I know if I think about it, if I think about $1 million or whatever it is, I'll have more chance of having it. I mean, that's obvious. But we're talking about marinating in the frequency of the reality that you are wanting, so that you begin to be in that environment that you're creating within yourself so much that your being all of a sudden is just like, it doesn't care what was before that. It like starts to relinquish the other programming, the other reality field, the other environment, the one it's used to, and it starts giving you this. And now you're like, oh yeah, I'm walking a little taller, feeling like a mogul, feeling my mojo, gonna create my billions, gonna do my empire, gonna change the world, gonna make my dynasty, gonna create a legacy, and I am gonna help my fellow brothers and sisters in humanity, because they should have had this training from the get-go. So the more we are in our intentions, the more they raise our frequency, the more the frequency, the more, here, TJ, come here. The higher the frequency, the higher the reality. Come here, come sit with me, come join us. Mommy's giving an upgrade. Come on, honey. Come and join the community. Okay. It's TJ. Hi, everyone. TJ is on duty in the upgrade realm. Okay. Okay, buddy. Say hi to everybody. Love you. This is my buddy. This is my power couple partner right now. Mwah. Okay. Okay, guys. All right, moguls. So, big secret. All those moguls have coaches. I've been coaching those people for years, me and my team. They're so focused on such a high reality. They get high, their frequency's high, raises their chemistry, it keeps creating a self-perpetuating feedback loop where they just keep getting more exponentially higher in the frequency, and then their reality gets created from that frequency, because two things are happening, well, lots, but another thing that's happening in addition to when you're in a higher frequency, you receive higher reality resources and reality coming in. But when you're in a higher frequency, you also put more higher frequency out. So your intentions are happening at a higher frequency. Therefore, when you're making a new reality, you're making it in a higher frequency level. And that's what people like myself who have come into this world as human projectors. That's our human design. If you don't know yours, go to my website, theempirecompany.com. Click on human design, know what yours is. But the projectors of the world, like me, are here to raise the frequency of everybody, so that now that we've built a massive amount of the material world, when our frequency is higher, not only do we receive better and higher frequency reality, we make it better. And now everything we make comes out at a higher level because our frequency went up. So if you want to know what your frequency is and then raise your frequency through intentionality, I definitely encourage you to get all the books. Those are on the description is here on the link, but it's on my website. And then it'll click you through to buy them at Amazon. And but it'll be easier. You'll know exactly what they are by coming through the website. So you want to raise your frequency. You want to know what your frequency is. You're going to start, and it helps to have somebody help you with this. Okay. Hopefully there's a friend, maybe you live with someone, but you're going to just pick it up. You're going to first say to yourself, what's my frequency? And even if you never asked that question before, you're going to let the answer come in. So say it says your frequency is 275 and you get the answer. Now, in order to test what our frequency is, just like testing any truth, we muscle test it. It's a concept in energy psychology. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick out our arm. We got someone that's going to help us with this, and they're going to push down on your hand and your arm right after you say the sentence, like, my frequency is 275, which I don't want to say. I want to say, keep mine up. My frequency is 750, but you get what I mean. So you're going to say, my frequency is, and when you do that, they're at the same time, once you said it, they're going to push down. You're going to try to push up. If that's true, the statement you just said about your frequency, you'll be able to push up and they won't be able to push you down. If it's off, if you say my frequency is blah, blah number, I'm just going to use mine for now. My frequency is 750. Soon as I say that, if someone tries to push down, I am able to push way up and they cannot break this. I'm like steel. Because truth, high frequency and truth make you so nobody can push you down and effectively make you go weak. Say I want to pick a different number and I want to know, what is it? I'm trying to figure it out. Say I give a number, my frequency is 700. 600, let's say 600. You try it and you go, my frequency is 600, and your friend or whoever goes push down, but you're like, oops, oh yeah, okay, that's not accurate, because if you can lower, it means that's not the number. So okay, it's somewhere between 275 and 6, so let me pick 400. Nice. There again, and they're going to try to push down. So you're going to say, my frequency is 400, and you try to go up. If it's correct, you'll have the ability to do that. If it's not that number, they'll try to push down and you'll go weak. Okay? Because truth makes you strong, non-truth makes you weak. So you're like, okay, is it 475? It's like, okay, my frequency is 475, and the person tries to push down, and you're like a little wobbly. Okay, let's try 500. My frequency is 500. Now they start to push. You're just like steel trap. Or if you really are going big and go, my frequency is 500, and they're like, push, you're just like, no, it's not there. Okay, my frequency is 485. And you keep calibrating, and you have somebody help you with this until you get the number. So say your number, so I'm at 750 right now at the beginning of the day, I should say. I don't know what I need to start measuring at night, actually. I'm at 750, but I've been working on raising my frequency for a very long time through the method of intentionality, committing to it, doing pattern shifts that lead to an upgrade. So you're going to get your baseline. You're going to shoot to raise it. I encourage you to shoot. I mean, let's say wherever you are, I'm shooting right now. I don't like, why do we say that? I'm shooting. I don't love that. I'm going for. My target is that my frequency can get up to 850 in the next year consistently and stably. So you're going to pick a number that you're going for, and you're going to use this test to know where you're at in any given day, situation, moment. You can use it for anything. You could literally hold in your hand medicine. You're like, and you're holding your hand, you got medicine. And then you're saying, is this medicine good for me? And if it's good, you'll be able to push up as your friend's pushing down. You say, I'm holding this. Is this medicine good for me? And if it's not good, you'll be trying to push up and you'll get wobbly. And the person may let you push all the way down. You can do it with anything. Is this food good for me? Or you'd say, this food I'm about to eat is good for me. And if it's true, you'll go higher. This food I'm about to eat is good for me. If it's not, it'll go lower while your friend is trying to push on you. So we want to know what our frequency is. We want to know how to raise it. We want to be able to do that. And we got to start doing that by muscle testing ourselves, knowing what the baseline is, knowing what we're shooting for. And I really invite each of you to get your frequency done, make a comment, say, my frequency is currently this, comment, and then I'm going for a frequency of this. So for the next year, my target is this, because we're not just talking about some moments of raising your frequency. We're talking about, it took me years to get my frequency much higher, but I also did that so I could learn how to make it really simple for you all to do it. And I'm giving you those tips. So like for me, I'm going for 850, even though I'm around people that I'm helping with a lot lower frequency, but I'm going for that. So my intentionality is for a frequency of 850. So more intentionality, more purpose, a higher vision, higher set of intentions. Empire company, just absolutely doing tons of transformations that are helping people. International Moguls Club community, just rising and raising people into moguls around the world. And just a great amount of transformation happening and just enjoyment of seeing people come along for this, because my team and I have been doing this for a long time and now bringing it onto the YouTube channel so more people have access to it. So that's raising my frequency, because my frequency as a projector goes up. Even though I'm a doctor, I'm a projector. It goes up the more I see people transform and they participate. It reinforces everything. All of a sudden, my frequency goes up. So I'm shooting for a big upgrade. I invite you all to do it. So let's get everybody commenting. Check your frequency. If you need more help, just watch the video over and over. I'll give you the simplest version of it. You can learn how to muscle test like this and do it for anything and everything. And if any one of you, your partnership, your people in your life, your kids, your family, because you could say, my family's frequency is blah, 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 and you'll know. If you go up, you're correct. If you go down, and you just keep putting new amounts in there. You can know the frequency of everything in your reality. You can know where you want it to go, and you can use the method of intentionality to raise it. When you know your frequency, now you're operating in the truth of the situation. You know where it needs to be, and the mogul frequency comes from the mogul identity. And again, the simplest version, they call it a hack, but that word is pretty low frequency. The simplest upgrade is to make your intentions so amazing that they literally raise your frequency and the entire baseline of it. So if I just take something like, the frequency of our world reality is 950. That's what I'm going with right now. That right there, I don't know if you saw I'm like, oh my God, yay, my frequency is going up because everything around us would be higher and better. So whatever that might be, it could be, having a baby, creating a new family, having a partner, whatever these things are, traveling the world, going on a beautiful trip, getting a beautiful dress, whatever it might be, having a great conversation with a buddy. You put that intentionality out, being super healthy and super happy and nurtured and cared for. Each of those have a frequency, and when you focus on your intentions, they'll raise your frequency and raise your ultimate reality. Really want to see everybody give me the frequency that they have right now. And then each time you're testing, what is your frequency when you do it? Feel free to comment here. Let us know how it's going. How is your frequency raising process going? And then mix in the mogul identity. Let's get your focus on creating your empire and your dynasty, which is a much higher frequency than just a business and a family. So when you start saying, oh, I'm creating my empire, higher frequency. I'm creating my dynasty, higher frequency. I'm creating a new galaxy, even higher frequency. Each of these things, sure, they're narrating your story, they're creating your reality, but they're raising your frequency so that you're at least utilizing high frequency things to create with. Otherwise, it's like you're creating a reality by using old parts of and language that is pretty low, and you're taking parts of your reality and you're making yourself into a character, and your whole reality is being made on the lower frequency language, and I'm inviting you to make it higher. So you're high, your partnership's high, your family's high, your company's high, community, city, and the world gets higher in the frequency. So we can raise it because we need to raise each person up to about 750 in order that we don't burn ourselves up and get super freaking crispy, because the frequency of the world has been dropping and dropping. And that's why there's so many mental health issues, so many illnesses, and so many people opting out and killing themselves. Not okay. Replaced with moguling themselves, raising themselves. Okay. Okay, moguls, thanks for joining in today. Thanks for making this upgrade. Thanks for learning how to raise your frequency, making it a big priority of your whole reality, starting to use higher frequency components to construct your reality with the correct language. All of these high frequency tools, higher intentionality tools, bringing in a higher vision for reality, raising that frequency that helps you, your partnership, your family, your company, your city, society, and humanity. All right, way to go, moguls. So happy you tuned in. Wanted to give you this upgrade today. Just continue to move through all the content that's available on the channel to raise you up into mogul status so you can operate at that level, to the minimum level now in the world of AI. I'm really go into the immersion of the content, and my absolute invitation for us to be supporting each other on the journey is please like and subscribe and share this with one other person who you know will absolutely benefit from being in the know about how to raise their frequency into the mogul level and experience the mogul reality the way that everyone needs to. Okay, moguls, I love you all very much. Again, thank you for tuning in. Everything I do is for you. Love to see the comments and know how this is helping you. It guides and directs me on what it is that you all need to raise up this reality. So let's keep the upgrades flowing. And again, just so much love to you, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye-bye.